Thank everyone welcome to this second portion of tonight's meeting, Public Works Recreation. I am your chair, Councillor Trombetta. There are no changes in order. Are there any changes in order of items on the agenda? Seeing none. Any disclosure of interest or conflict of interest? Seeing none. There are no appointments. Anyone in the audience want to request any items on the agenda? Don't see any. Consent agenda items. We have one, two, one. There's two and ones here. So is that one or two? One. Item PW 45-19, Public Works hereby is approved the following consent agenda items. Item 1B and hereby receive for information. West Lincoln Public Library Board minutes, October 18th, 2019. I need a mover. Councillor Riley, Councillor Ganan, all those in favor? And that's carried. We have no communications. Go down to staff reports. Item PW 46-19, amendment to budget. Manager in Roads, Water and Wastewater, Mr. Steve McGeen. Director of Public Works and Recreation, Mr. Mike DePaula. Recommendation report, the RFD PW 22-19, a new 2020 single axle and tandem axle plow truck tender authorization amendment to budget. The recommendation that report RFD PW 22-2019, a new 2020 single axle tandem axle plow truck tender authorization amendment to budget dated November 18, 2019 be received, and that council accept the tender submission by Metro Freightliner Inc. for the supply and delivery of 2 plow trucks in the amount of $521,381 plus HST, and that council approve a budget amendment in the amount of approximately $25,500 to be funded from the equipment reserve, and that a bylaw be passed to authorize the mayor and clerk to enter an agreement with Metro Freightliner Inc. for the supply and delivery of 2 plow trucks. I need a mover. Mr. Mayor, Secretary, Councillor Jonker, comments or questions? Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, so I think they're quite simple. Is this through to the Director of Public Works, is this an increase in service? These 2 plow trucks, will it give us another plow truck in the system,
Or removing 2, is that what you're...
Yeah, like, so there's 2 new plow trucks. Are they just replacing existing stock?
Mr. Director?
Yeah, through the chair to Mayor Belsma, these 2 trucks are replacing existing fleet. One's 13 years old and the other one's 14 years old, so just replacement.
And then just a follow-up question, just for information. How many plow trucks do we have on the road for the municipality?
Through the chair to the mayor, unfortunately, I'm not 100% sure.
Sorry to put you on
but
the
I
spot
could
like
follow up and get back to everybody.
No, you know what? It came up in the, a week ago on the Monday, and I had just for the record, I had mixed reviews, but in the main, they were positive about the way that the storm was cleaned up. I know it was a challenging storm, and most people, like the rest of Niagara region, were caught a little bit unawares, but I felt that even with the some of the challenges that were faced by staff with respect to breakdowns and such, that there I received positive comments, so just want staff to know that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Riley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you back to the Director of Public Works. Out of curiosity, what happens to a decommissioned plow?
Mr. Director?
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Riley, there's a bunch of options. Either there's like a municipal government auction site, so I'm not sure if our plan is to put this on the auction site or not.
Okay.
But I could look into that.
So my follow-up question is, the funds that are retrieved from that auction site, where do they typically go?
Through the chair to the Councillor Riley, they'll probably go back to the equipment reserve.
Then we'll go back to equipment reserve. Okay, no, I just wanted to verify that.
Thank
'cause
you.
I was not positive
Thank you.
about that.
Councillor Ganan?
Well, further to the question about what happens, if they are still serviceable somewhat and the new ones come in, do we have staff that we could put on? If we were still in ownership of those plows, do we have enough staff that they could be used in a pinch if necessary?
Through the chair to Councillor Ganan, I don't believe there would be additional staff to occupy those 2 vehicles.
Councillor Rayner?
Thank you. Further, if the Director of Public Works doesn't mind, I've asked that question in the past with regards to what happens with the old equipment. And one was a grader, and another one was a fire truck, I believe. And they sent them to Brian's Auction in Pushlands, which is a huge auction place on number 6, just before you get to Morriston, before you get to Guelph. And they just auction them off there. They take pretty well anything from all of Ontario. 3,000-4,000 pieces of equipment at a time are auctioned. So that's where they went in the past. That doesn't mean it's going to go this time, but that's what we used to do. It used to be always auctioned off. My question with regards to this, through the director, was this money allocated in the budget for 2019?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Rayner, yes, it was.
So I'm just curious, why is it being ordered now? Because it's going to be needed. The budget was approved in March. Why wasn't this ordered like in May, June, so that the truck would be here for the weather?
Through the chair to Councillor Rayner. Originally, our staff were going to piggyback the Niagara procurement process, and there's a Niagara procurement committee that does procurement like this in bulk, and our staff was going to piggyback on that, and unfortunately, the timing of that wouldn't suit our schedule, because they weren't going to tender it until another month from now, so we just went ahead and tendered it ourselves to get these trucks in our fleet before the middle of December. So I hope that answers your question.
Through you then, so the other answer to my question is they are readily available, these trucks. They can be brought on fleet. They don't have to be built like the fire trucks.
Through the chair to Rayner, Councillor Rayner, they're readily available, and we're expecting to get them in the middle of December.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Yonker?
Yeah, like I was just wanting to also pass on to the staff there that I think they did an excellent job, especially when you go down some other roads and you're going, wow, this is a regional road. And 16 Road and a whole pile of other roads in West Lincoln are in better shape than what was around us, and even our neighbor just south of us towards Lake Ontario. So I think our staff did an excellent job, and I just think that needs to be mentioned for sure. It was, considering the storm, it was well managed.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Riley? Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, back to you, but I just wanted to add on to actually something Councillor Gannon had mentioned. And so, and I apologize if this is a silly question, but through you to the Director of Public Works, I guess the expectation of what we would receive in the auction, is it significant enough to actually pursue, or are we better off to hold on to the equipment? And I'm assuming we have a couple other vehicles that aren't too far down the road that are going to need replacing, just in case. I imagine there's obviously some maintenance that would be required over the years, and you have to keep it up. But I was just kind of curious if we're only going to get, I don't know, and I'm speculating. Let's say we get $5,000 or $8,000 for, I'm assuming, a $250,000 vehicle when it was brand new. Does it make sense to hold on to it for spare parts or anything that it could be useful later on, or is it better just to take what we can get for it now and be done with it?
Through the chair to Councillor Riley, it's best just to get what we can get for them, just because they're 13, 14 years old, and a lot of the parts are just not really reusable with our current fleet.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate hearing that. Thank you.
Councillor Jonker?
You sure?
Yeah, basically what I was going to answer that question too. Basically, old equipment, the longer you have it sitting around, the quicker it loses its value. So you buy new equipment, you move on, get rid of your old stuff, and this stuff is 13, 14 years old. It goes to an auction, and it goes who knows where, somewhere in the world, right? It's probably not going to be bought for here in Canada or even the U.S. They go south or wherever. I know you're thinking a snowplow, but yeah, a dump truck would go south in a heartbeat, right? So yeah, they're not worth keeping around for sure. Move it.
Councillor Cody?
So I just wanted to comment because the question was posed about having bodies to operate the trucks. I know everyone on council understands, but for the public who may see this, it's more about bodies in the trucks. It's about insurance, fuel, maintenance, all stuff that's not in the budget. And that's why we can't just get a body and have more trucks on the road if the public is curious.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor Cody. Any other comments regarding trucks? All those in favor? And that's carried. Any members of council? I'll start to my right, to Councillor Cody. Councillor Jonker? Councillor Ganad? Your mic's off now, Councillor Ganad, yeah.
Thank you. Just a reminder that the tree, by the way, is in. Thank you, Director, for making sure that that happened. And our tree lighting ceremony is going on a week Wednesday. And so make sure that if you're available, councillors, come on out.
Yeah, you will go back. Yeah.
So I neglected, I just wanted to remind everybody, we're having a Chamber of Commerce breakfast at, it's escaping me, Flat Top Grill in Ward 2. So that's Wednesday morning.
Excellent. Madam CAO, anything?
No, thank you.
Madam Clerk, anything? Councillor Red?
Not today.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, just a couple things. If you go to the West Lincoln Community Center, it's now labeled as such. And so that's just another of the ongoing little details for the facility. The flags, I understand, are going up as soon as well. That was a comment that was made to me. So if the member of the public is watching. And then thirdly, obviously, Remembrance Day was held on Monday, and it was held inside the Legion, and we talked about that last Wednesday. But the Legion had a new event. It was a veterans dinner on Saturday night. It was attended chief, deputy chief, myself. Were in attendance, as well as some of the Legion members. And the reason I want to bring it up, it wasn't a large affair. It was quite simple meal, and but there was a man in attendance. He is West Lincoln's last surviving vet of Second World War. He's 94 years old, and his name is Frank Doyle. And we had an opportunity. He was in attendance. I had an opportunity to shake his hand, and he seemed very, very spry. We had a kind of a humorous moment when I shook his hand. He looked up at me, and he asked me if he'd ever fought me before. And he was a boxer in the Navy, and so he was. It was kind of funny. He assumed that we had fought one time. We met one time previously in a ring. All that to say, it was an enjoyable evening, and just kind of sitting in the presence of a World War II vet was, I don't know, I thought it was kind of moving. I think we all would see a man that of that age still representing, very tragic time in our nation's history, and so just wanted to get that on the record.
Councillor Rayner? Mr. Director, anything? Vanessa, Ms. CEO? No? CEO, not CAO. I said CEO. Oh, yeah, Mr. Director, go ahead.
Through the chair, I can now answer the question about fleet, what kind of fleet we have. So we have 8 large plows. We have 1 ton with a plow, 2 backhoes, a large tractor with a plow, 2 graders, and 2 sidewalk tractors for our snow removing operation. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Director, for that speedy answer. So I guess there's no more matters. I will just remind everybody about Wednesday's meeting at 4 p.m. at the WLCC. And see you guys all Wednesday. I'll adjourn this meeting at 8:05.